And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week. Now, some of you have suggested that the best 60-ish seconds of your week actually lasts longer than 60 seconds. Voila, that's true, because there's always a lot to say, and we try to keep it relatively short, although sometimes we go to excess. But this week, before we get to so much that there is to say, we'd like to take a moment for viewer participation, because there are 3 things that you can do right at the bottom of your screen. 1, like, 2, share, and 3, subscribe to this magnificent 60-ish seconds each week if you want more of this brilliance and want to be notified before it takes place. There's your opportunity. Take advantage. And as you're watching this Saturday morning, Pennsylvania's most famous rodent, Punxsutawney Phil, is crawling out of his hibernation to tell us whether or not there's going to be 6 more weeks of winter. And let's just pray to God that he says no, because when Chicago is colder than Antarctica, something is really fundamentally wrong. It's also Super Bowl weekend, and I'm cherishing and clinging to the last few hours of calling the Philadelphia Eagles the defending Super Bowl champions. And on the other side of my state, KDKA, the Pittsburgh CBS affiliate, fired the young graphics guy who inserted in the lower third under Tom Brady, known cheater. Now, what's that about? You know, truth has always been an absolute defense, hasn't it? Tell that guy to call us at Quantum Communications. I bet we could find a job for him. On a more serious note, we really have tried to focus on business and politics in this 60-ish seconds, but I simply can't ignore what has taken place in New York and what almost took place in Virginia recently, where late-term abortions, even up until the moment of birth, have not only been legalized, but celebrated. And in Virginia, the governor there is seemingly embracing infanticide. You know, the pro-choice folks have always said that they wanted abortion to be safe, legal, and rare. That mantra's really gone out the window with all of this, and if you want to look further, simply Google what Mario Cuomo, former governor of New York and the father of the current governor, had to say about this very issue not that long ago. And you don't have to be a Catholic to believe that way. In fact, if you want to look at someone else's views, Google Barack Obama and see the statements that he made right before he ran for president. Enough said. And back to the economy, earnings reports are coming out by the droves, and as they do, the market is back above 25,000 for the first time since very early December. And not inconsequential in all of that, of course, is the action of the Fed and their announcements recently that they're going to go easy on rate hikes and on writing down the balance sheet. When the Fed is dovish, the markets are bullish. And while we've said all along that the markets are not the economy and vice versa, it's good news that the market is performing as it is and continues to look upward, and we look like we may have economic growth this year. The one thing that's still a bugaboo in all of that is the issue of trade wars and rumors thereof. But if a deal with China is able to be made over the course of the next 60 days, that too may be off the table and the economy may be back to where it needs to be. All of that so significant as we run up to the 2020 election cycle and the plethora of candidates now already on the track, jockeying for position as we move into the real race. It's already started, but as we move into the real race in 2020. And finally, here at home in my home state of Pennsylvania, 2 significant announcements this week. First, a federal indictment of Johnny Doc Doherty, the head of Local 98 of the IBEW, the Electrical Workers Union, and his henchman, City Councilman Bobby Heenan, the majority leader of Philadelphia City Council. Now, with those indictments go a lot of questions, but they boil down to 2 very important ones. First, will the folks that took money from Johnny Doc return it? And second, will Bobby Heenan resign his seat on City Council prior to his trial? Those are both open questions at this point, but they'll be watched very closely. And finally, our governor, Tom Wolf, made yet another attempt this week at an additional, underline additional, severance tax on natural gas. But this time he's added a piece to the typical tax and spend mantra that he's followed for the first 4 years of his governorship here in Pennsylvania, because it's now not just tax and spend, it's tax, borrow, and spend. A far better model, Governor, would be to promote the natural gas industry and all of the benefits that it's brought with us, both in terms of jobs created, benefits to consumers, and a better quality of life for all. That is the way to go. And that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.